This week's episode is sponsored by Change. Change is the #1 mentoring programme that teaches you e-commerce from scratch. Change has a real community with real results. I have been working with Ryan for many years now and have attended many of his events and retreats across the world and got to meet members and the amazing community of like-minded people. Ryan works with a lot of big names in the business world, helping them build online businesses and e-commerce. Change offers personal one-on-one support, no experience needed, but like anything, this takes time and is not a get-rich-quick scheme. If you put the work in, you will get the results. E-commerce and online shopping is getting bigger and bigger. This is a great opportunity for anyone that is looking for financial freedom. For more information, go follow Ryan on Instagram at RyanJB, and he will guide you through the steps to help you get started and build a successful online business. You can now follow me on all my social media platforms to find out who my latest guest will be. And don't forget to click the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you're notified for when my next podcast goes live. Boom, we're on. Today's guest, we've got Sarah Sands. Sarah, good to have you on the show. How are you feeling?
Yeah, no, thank you for inviting me. Yeah,
very fascinating story. Like, you were in prison for killing a paedophile, basically, like a man who had nearly 30 convictions, going over nearly 40 years. Like, I don't condone violence, but I'll condone that. So fair play to you. Like, it's probably every mother's worst nightmare, every father's worst nightmare. Like, not only did they get 3.5 years for manslaughter, but then they changed that and you're getting 8 years. Like, madness to change that. This guy was a serial predator.
Yep.
You took it into your own hands to not just protect others, but protect your 3 sons who became a victim of this predator. But it's mad to see that how your sentence, because some of these men and women who prey on young kids get lesser sentences than you. So first and foremost, for coming on today and telling your story, I appreciate it. But first of all, how are you?
I'm good. Okay.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
But before we get into everything, Sarah, man, I always go back to the start of my guests. Tell you where you grew up and how it all began.
So I grew up in East London, on an estate. When I had my children, I moved to Forest Gate and then on to where my crime took place, which was Silvertown.
How was your upbringing and stuff?
I had a mum and dad that were very overprotective. They were very overprotective. They were good parents, so yeah.
How were you as a mother?
Overprotective, yeah. I think still even today, I can't believe that this is our life and this happened. Still looking back, I was so overprotective. They never really went anywhere without me.
Why were you so overprotective then?
We lived in East London. It's quite dangerous in East London. I mean, the neighbours are always nice on the estate that you're raised on, but your parents are always constantly making you aware of what's out there.
Was there much violence and stuff where you grew up? Was that why the protection?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you know anything about these sort of individuals prior to this?
No.
And very naive to it?
Very, very naive, yeah. That's one thing I'll always say is that I still to this day, I can't even fathom how somebody can be so manipulative and lie and deceive, and it just, still to this day, I can't.
So you never experienced any of that as a kid?
Nothing.
Never heard anybody? Because
nothing.
With me doing these podcasts over the last few years, it's opened my eyes to a whole new world. Like, when you grow up in Glasgow, it's kind of, you just do your thing. There's a lot of violence here, but you start hearing the horror stories, you start realising, what, there's Barbara O'Hare who released the book called The Hospital, Evil Doctors, Drugging Kids, Abusing Kids, Killing Kids, undercover paedophile guy who worked on 20 years, working the darkest job probably on the planet to expose these people that
and you find out the story and you're thinking, how can human beings be so devious?
evil.
Like, we know there's evil on the planet, but
See, that's the thing. I think I knew of like outside of my bubble, and I'd met, one or two survivors in the past, and I knew someone that had, had been through some horrendous stuff, but you still don't think it's going to affect you personally. You don't, it's, yeah.
what was your life like before? It was just normal mum, just working, trying to raise her kids, trying to protect her kids, and just trying to provide.
Yeah.
What were you working as?
I just moved, so I was in college, and I was just doing, there was a cafe downstairs. Yeah, so I was having trial days in there, running.
So just trying to basically survive, just
Yeah.
be the best mother that you could be. Like, when did this man come into your life? Because I know he's changed his name, which we'll touch on as well. But his first name is, I've got it here, Michael Pleasted, is that right? You probably, and then but his real name is Robin Moult. Because I had Della Wright on as well, who a powerful woman, powerful story,
Yeah,
amazing
very
woman,
powerful,
like,
yeah.
love her to bits, and people can change their name for as less as 20 quid, get new driver's license, new passports, and nobody knows who they are. Like I say, when this man was in your life, he was in his 70s, like, nice old man sitting at the shop.
Oh, definitely that granddad figure. So when you think of like that granddad figure, I had a great granddad. Like, he was amazing. Never nothing to worry about. Never as a child had any thoughts. And when I met Michael, he definitely gave that persona, that godfather persona.
Because like I says at the start, he's nearly 30 crimes of abuse towards kids as young as 16 and 14.
He had 3
and 12.
separate prison sentences. Yeah.
Stemming from the 70s. Like, what was he like when he first came into your life?
So I think looking back, he didn't come in. He was there. We moved there, and he was already there. And it was just a progressive friendship, just high and by. He would be outside the shop where I was working, doing newspapers and that kind of thing, which is our local shop next to the primary school that my children were just starting to attend.
And you're not thinking nothing, no bad energy, no bad vibes, just sweet old man, somebody in their 70s. Like, the last thing you're thinking is, but this is how manipulative these predators are, and it's difficult to, you would feel bad to say, oh, there's something not right with him, because you would think, oh, it's just an old man. Like, as a protective mother then, like, what was the steps to, like, you finding out he wasn't the man you first thought?
That would be the day my twins come home, and disclosed to me that he'd tried to be inappropriate with them.
And what's going through your mind then?
Horrendous. Your whole world collapsed. Then you look at them and they're so beautiful and innocent and all what's right with the world, and yet all that's wrong with the world has made its way into your family.
Yeah. So did you not give one of your sons a job as well?
Yeah, so that was my oldest son, yeah.
So you were happy at that, thinking, great, your son's out working.
Yeah, it was cute. It was a little Saturday job, and he loved that little bit of independence, because before that he'd never had any independence at all. So it was, it was his... It was something he loved to do on a Saturday morning, get up and go and help do the papers and rearrange in the back of the shop.
Like I say, it's a mother's work.
There was other children as well. There was other children that were doing their little Saturday jobs there as well. Yeah.
Like I said, he was charged as well with other boys around that estate. Like I say, man, I don't condone violence, and it must be a thing that you replay in your mind consistently, no matter how much we work on ourselves. Like, it's the pain, the trauma, the overprotective mother could have done more. But with your act that you've done, you've saved more kids' lives. You might have damaged your own mind and some people around you, which was probably the difficult thing, but you've saved so many other people from the abuse and the terror that this man has caused for over 40 years. So when you found out about your sons, like, what are you thinking?
I think that's hard as well, isn't it? When you find out that actually this has been going on for all these years. And that's another thing you never forget is, who are them children? Where are them children? Did someone look after them children? Did someone love them children the way that I love my children? My children will always have me. That's that's a given. But not all children have that. And going deeper down the rabbit hole, like once this enters your life and the further and further you go, the more research that you do, you realise how absolutely terrible it is and horrifying, in how parents don't listen to their children and how parents don't, pains me to say it, but don't believe their children, and that's something that you live with every day. Them children obviously didn't get the justice they deserved because he was still out here doing it. The justice that they deserved would have been life in prison.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
But that's why the justice system is flawed, because people like this are getting 12 months, 3 years, and the destruction they cause, the evil they cause is, there's no anything else like it on the planet. And like you say, this has been going on since the 70s. How many people have just had it? Della, 6 years old, the shit that she went through with a man who changed his name. He could take Della to he's going to see his parole officer, and that's a kid who's been convicted of horrible things. So when your kids told you, what are you then thinking? Is it contact the police, or is it revenge, or you need to find answers? What was your first instincts?
I'll protect them. Absolutely protect them. Yeah. So called the family came. My house was full within 20 minutes. And that's when we called the police and was advised to go straight to my mum's. Because when I looked back, I just thought that was a normal procedure that you've made. So you've said this to the police. The police didn't say to me, oh, we're going to be there in a minute. They were like, get out now, take your kids and go. And I thought that was normal. But when I look back now, I think you knew, you absolutely knew who he was. You knew where he was, because how quickly they told me to get out of that house and to take them children away. I mean, they must have known them children were in danger. They must have known. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when you got your kids out, when did you then go and see him?
That would have been 5 weeks later. Yeah.
Was that just burning you inside, just all the hatred, all the rage? Where
I think the decline in someone's mental health is immense during the process of, to see him get bail, that was something else. It didn't. Again, naive. It did not occur to me that he would get bail. Not even for a minute.
How many charges did they have then?
He had, up to that point, without ours and stuff, he had 24 previous convictions. We're including the charges that he was going through. That was, I think, at least another 3 charges.
And how many has he got away with? Do you know what I mean? How many charges? That's the heartbreaking thing.
I know of, I think one he was called into questioning. I think it was, I think this was played on the news with June, when they was doing their research and their backstory. And a year prior to us living there, the police were called to his address under an accusation that had been made about a young boy in his flat. But because the charges were dropped, because nothing come of it, all of these little things that are around these sentences, nobody really talks about them.
So when he was up,
it's worse than.
So when he was up at court and he got bail, is that when the rage really kicked in, or were you calm about it? Thinking, but it's hard to put yourself in that predicament if you've never lived it. But he's up for charges. You think he's going to get remanded and possibly die in prison. But when he's get bail, then when did you hear? Were you at court?
I wasn't. I was advised not to go. I stayed with the children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what happened when he get bail?
He got bail, and I think it was within the same week he got rearrested and was going back. But they let him out again. He didn't even make it to court that time. Don't know why. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when you eventually take the courage up and go round to his house, what was the steps that day?
So it started in the morning. By now, I couldn't function as a normal member of society. My mental health had declined so bad, and the children, the healing process for the children hadn't yet started. So we're still literally in the midst of the agony and the pain of it all, and that's when I decided I was going to go back to my house and get some space. Only it didn't work out like that.
And you were intoxicated as well. You had 2 bottles of wine.
I don't know. I remember buying the wine, but I don't remember finishing them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was your mind already gone without the wine, though?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Especially as a mother, like you say, overprotective anyway, and somebody slipped through the net and...
Yeah. You make all these walls and all these barriers, and somebody managed to,
How much do you... It's hard, but do you blame yourself for...
Every minute of every day. It's the mother's guilt.
That's the hardest thing, yeah?
It's why I speak out, because I think it's so easy to hide. It's so easy for me to hide and bury myself into the shadows of society. Definitely.
So he's got bail, your sons are distraught, you're distraught, your head's all over the place. You've had some wine. What was the motive to then just go, I'm going to see him? Because
But you got to remember, because he pled not guilty, they would still have to attend court. So on top of the fact that he gets to be out, children are now back in danger, not only all of that, but now they then will now have to go to court and talk about what happened. And that, if he'd have just pled guilty and took... See, I'm still looking at it from a kind of normal person's point of view to an evil predator. Like, in my head, you did something, so say you're guilty, and save these children the heartbreak of having to, do all that. So for me, if you've done something, you should stand up and say you did it, and take... That should never have been on the shoulders of my children.
These people are evil, though. They don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care about the suffering they've caused on this planet. So you're thinking you want him to admit his guilt to save your children from
100%.
to go through any more stress.
100%.
So you've went and got a blade. You went to see him. Like, was it just a case of, did you have the intentions of killing him then, or were you just thinking,
no,
I just want him to admit his guilt?
Yeah, he had to admit it, because I know you did it. Obviously, they know you did it. Like, in my head, I couldn't understand why the police had the judge that gave him bail. I couldn't understand how the judge that gave him bail, like, did the judge disbelieve the kids? Is that why he got bail? Do you know what I mean? Like, he knows he did it. My kids knows he did it. I 100% know. What was that judge thinking? So if the judge can't do it, then I will do it. You know you did it. You're going to tell him you did it. And it didn't work out that way.
What was it like facing him after everything that he'd done?
He had no remorse.
Did that make you even angrier?
I don't think anger ever came into it. This was... Someone bumps your car, you're angry, the kid's messing around, you're angry, you get into an argument, you're angry. This isn't anger. This isn't. I remember in, I think it was court, they were saying, like, you was angry. It's like, you cannot fathom what was going on in here. The anger that I know, that wasn't angry. That wasn't angry. There's no words to explain. I was definitely not well. I would admit that. I definitely was poorly at that point. Yeah.
But you had every reason to not be. You had every reason to be struggling. You had every reason to be thinking, whether you in your mind whether you thought I was going to kill him straight away. Every parent would think that. Somebody who's abused your kids, went to court, got bailed, back on the streets.
That's what I mean. You're angry maybe through that process, but by the time you get to where I was, I mean, everything's exploded. everything has literally exploded.
As a mother, as a father, your duty is to protect your kids, protect your
Yes, it
family.
is.
So if this man got bail, you've got if the police can't, it's not the police, they've got the charges, it's the court system, it's the whole system that's flawed. So in your hands, in your head, you're thinking, look, listen, I would do life for my kids. Simple as that. Somebody harms my kids and I need to do what I need to do, 1,000,000%, I'm going to do the right fucking thing. I would do it. So you've stepped up to the plate. Like, in your mind, you can tell you're a good soul anyway. It's not something you want to do, but it's something in your head you fucking had to do, because you would rather do the sentence, take this man away and give your kids more protection of the evil on this planet. Like, when you eventually go to his house, you say admit your guilt, he says no, what happens then?
I didn't say anything. I didn't say that.
I read that in the papers.
Yeah,
sorry.
no, I don't know why that was in there. I actually didn't speak. Yeah. Like the memories, I think the research that I've done on like trauma and the brain and the way the mind works, and sometimes it will let you remember things, sometimes it doesn't, and a lot of that it won't. And for the first 6 months I kind of fought myself because I wanted to remember, but do you really want to remember taking someone's life? You know, so it's like my brain's protecting me, so it's not. And I think the trigger for the trauma happened right then as I was staring at him, because it was like my brain just switched off. It was like I wasn't a normal talking human being, definitely. Yeah.
You weren't in control.
No.
You went into survival mode. What if it was you? What if it was you? Who says this man's a dangerous man? More dangerous than you, even though what you've done. Look, the pain and misery this people have caused. And it must be hard for me to sit here and say, oh, it's okay for me personally to think it's okay to done, but you've still got to live with that. Taking somebody's life, you've got to live with the pain. You've got to live with what's happened to your kids, and that's not easy. That's the heartbreaking thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're living with something that it was basically took out of your own hands. These are the cards you've been dealt in life, but fair play to them. Fair play to yourself for playing them and being here and just telling your story as well, because a lot of people will get hope and come forward with, you don't know what kind of damage they've been through in life. Like, so after you'd left him, like, what were you thinking then? Like, did the mist start to clear and you started to realise what had happened?
Oh God, no! It all just went worse from there. Yeah.
Decline even worse.
I remember standing outside the police station, and there was just loads of police, and then it's like snippets all over the weekend. So like flashbacks of the prison cell, or flashbacks. Like, I can't tell you the faces of the 2 police officers that were interviewing me. They could pass me in the street and I wouldn't even know it was them. Yeah.
When did it sink in that you'd killed someone?
During one of them interviews. Yeah. I didn't know he was dead. I didn't know.
When did you find out?
During the interview. I can't remember what they said, and I looked up and said, "Is he dead?" And that's when they confirmed they'd found a body. Yeah.
What was going through your mind then? Is it again still all kind of dark and in a kind of daze, or did it start to sink in that what had happened?
No, I don't think it's ever really sunk in, to be honest. I don't know what the sunk in is. Like, is it like, I know it's done, but I mean, it's not like me, who I am today, picking up a knife and killing someone, to who that woman was. Do you see what I'm doing? Like, already in my mind, it's that woman that did it, because it's like 2 different. It's honestly, yeah, I don't think it ever. Like, I know it's happened. I know it's done. I know he's not going to hurt anyone, but yeah, it just doesn't sink in. It just is what it is.
How did the police treat you?
Fantastic. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like I say, it's not the average cold-blooded murder where it's gang-related or people are putting balaclavas on, and that you've done what you've done. You went to the police station a couple of hours later.
And that's what I love about I don't know if you ever saw any of the tapes from court, but that's what I loved about the judge, like, because he just got it. Because he turned around and he said, I don't believe for 1 minute if he'd have not got bail or something, she wouldn't be here. And that's the God's honest truth. Of course I would not be there. If you'd have done your job properly, no, I would not have been there. We have these services, we have these authorities for a reason, so people like us are safe. And when something does happen, we have something to fall back on to make us safe.
Because not only everything that you went through prior to that, but when you're sitting in court, that you get 3.5 years.
Yes.
So you're thinking, do you know what?
I had 11 months left to do.
Yeah. So how did you end up getting recalled again, and then they've basically put more on to get nearly 8 years, which is over half? Like, what were you thinking then?
There was some very angry paedophiles who believed that hanging had come in from the back door. In other words, that giving me such a small sentence had okayed it for other people to go out and do the same. And I think regardless of the reasons they used to do that, which was, that I took the knife and things like that, regardless of the reasons that they doubled plus more to make an example of me. I believe that.
But why would they want to make an example of you? They're talking about open the door.
Because we just spoke about how many people are actually out there doing it. How many people are going to realise that they're not going to get life, they're just going to get 3 years. A lot of parents are more likely to do it knowing they're going to get 3 years because I've set a precedence of 3.5 years than say to,
But that's the risk predators should be willing to take. If people are only getting 3.5 years for protecting their own kids, protecting the kids of this world, because it's only getting worse. I don't know if it's only getting worse because more people are speaking out, and it's more, there seems to be more.
It's quite hard, isn't it? I've thought that many times. Yeah.
How long has this been going on? But you go back centuries, and you get even now kids that can get married at 9 and 10 in some countries. Like, there's some fuckery goes on in this world, man. And I've got kids, so I know what it takes to try and protect kids, and I don't want to be overprotective in case it goes the opposite as well. But again, because of the people I interview, it's difficult. Like, I was speaking to a police officer in America. She doesn't let her kids have sleepovers.
Yeah.
And I'm a soft bastard. So if my kids are crying or what, like, it's just...
No, mine don't have sleepovers.
Do you know what I mean? It's so hard because we know now what goes on. Like, when you're going through the court system...
Mine never really had sleepovers before this either. So I was, I'm still, I think that I don't think I'm on for sleepovers. I think I would rather you hate me for a day than put you at risk in sleepovers.
So then you get your sentence, 3.5 years, which, in all honesty, is pretty decent. That you're thinking, my kids are safe, I'll do my sentence. You're probably treated well in the prison as well because you're not in there from any badness. People have probably hailed you, I wouldn't say a hero, but a good person.
There are good people they're good people themselves that have done something that's maybe out of character or done something in the heat of the moment. Could be any of us that, could end up there, definitely.
That's what I'm saying. Just because you could work a normal 9 to 5, do everything you can. Everybody's got that fuck it switch. Everybody's got that switch where they can just snap. I had a young girl on Nia from Essex. Mad bastard, totally bonkers, but I can't help but love the girl because she's got something special. She's just had that bit of a roller coaster life where she's been caught up in some mad shit, but you can see the goodness in her. Listen, she's done bad, she'll put her hands up first, but
I think that's the difference as well. Like what you just said is like when you've done what you've done, you put your hands up, don't you? And you say like, like me, I did bad, straight to the police station, I did this, It's the evil of the world that don't do that. It's the evil of the world that doesn't put their hands up and take responsibility for what they've done,
So you get 3.5 years, but then they called you back and says it was too lenient. Like,
because I think it was about 40. It can happen to anyone. It just rarely happens because, the courts are quite trusted to hand out, the sentences. I mean, it was the Old Bailey, so a big court, so what they say usually does go. But it can happen to anyone. Anyone can
I've never in my life seen it happen. Somebody
No,
get
me
that.
neither. I didn't even know manslaughter, loss of control was a thing until I was there. I was 100% sure I was getting murder.
I've seen people get lesser sentences. I've seen people get sentences overturned, but I've never seen someone basically get more than double because they says it was too lenient, especially for your crime. It was different if it was maybe a mass murderer or whatever. But so when you get 3.5 years and then they've called you back, you've got 11 months left. How long were you doing in your sentence before you get called back?
I had 11 months left to do. And then once they double plus more, I think I had like 3 years to do. No, 3 years to do, yeah.
So what, your main charge wasn't a murder anyway, it would get dropped to culpable?
So my main charge was murder, and my conviction was manslaughter, loss of control. Yeah.
And then you're in your sentence. Like, what were you thinking then when they've says that they're basically going to double your sentence? Did you have to go through the court system again?
They wouldn't let me.
So you couldn't appeal that?
No, I was advised that I couldn't. Yeah.
Who advised you?
Just legal representations that I was looking into and stuff, yeah.
But surely you can challenge, no?
I didn't want to.
It could have gave you even more?
No, because it was so in the press and the media, and it was such a huge story. Like, people in Greece saw it, my family in Australia, Thailand, and it was a global news story. And when they doubled the sentence, they actually televised that live. My mum found that out from the TV. So I wanted it to be over.
So that's why you didn't challenge it. You didn't want anybody else seeing it anymore. You kind of just want to forget it, got on with your
I have
sentence.
to protect the boys, yeah.
Yeah. But fair play to you. Like, did you feel as if that was well deserved, getting more?
No.
Yeah.
I did always say, whatever the judge gave me, he sat through that whole case. Whatever he gave me at the end, I'll take it as a woman. So I think what they did after, that weren't fair. That was awful. And I had support from thousands of people, literally thousands of people, but 40 people complained. And, a paedophile wrote in one of do you remember the newspaper in prison used to get, Prison Times?
Yeah.
A paedophile actually wrote into that newspaper, just like slagging me off, saying like it wasn't her kids and I got longer than 3.5 years and I barely did anything. And then openly admitted that he was a paedophile. They were just so angry. So a few of them must have just got together and complained.
But the thing is,
what can I do?
They say there's one in every 30 that's got paedophile tendencies. Yeah. One in every street.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who you are, what you are, the old man, the young boy, like there's
women.
Yeah, women as well, yeah.
See, that's where the naivety was for me as well, is that what you read in magazines and newspapers is somebody else's world, but to be in Holloway prison with female people, wow, that's female ones too, yeah. People just can't get their head around it, yeah.
What was it like your first night in prison? When the door gets shut? Was that a relief?
I think so. It felt safe, weirdly safe. Yeah.
How were you treated?
Very well.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
Very well.
Because prisoners are crazy.
Yeah.
They love
I love them. I still do. And I don't talk about my prison days ever. That's never in the media. Yeah. They're private stories. They're mine, and people don't want to be in the media anyway,
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I still, yeah.
What is it like?
I've met good people.
Same.
Fantastic people.
Some of the best people I know on this planet are the maddest bastards.
Opinion, is it? But it's mine and that's it.
Like, I still go back to the girl Nia, like, mad bastard. Done some mad stuff, but I can't help but love her. Like, I would help her out if she needed something because I see goodness. Yeah. You see goodness. Sometimes when you're caught up in that.
Thankfully they saw it in me as well, you know, because, what if they thought, because in my mind, I don't know why I'm still whispering that after all these years, but, I'm a murderer and are people going to hate me? Like, look what I've done. He was just a nice old man. If people don't get the whole story, they could just assume like I'm some crazy wino that, went running around with a knife.
Because it never came out until you released that your boys were involved. Is that correct?
Never came out, yeah.
How so?
Yeah. Because they were under a certain age, they had protection, so that was good, yeah.
I've met one of your sons, man. He's a great big kid. Like you've still raised well. Like you say, but even speaking about it and speaking out, because you're very open about it. I know you protect your kids at all costs, and rightly so. And I know you don't really do as many stories. Like you kind of digest what's going through. But
yes, I always do a project, give time for the boys to process. Do a project, give time for the boys to process. I mean, there is so much more, and there are so many more details to it, but that's definitely for when they're ready. You've got to remember, it's not just about me. Yeah, it's about them.
How did you deal with your sentence? Or what was your daily routine like? Is it just head down, just try and get through it to get out?
I cried a lot.
Did you?
Yeah, I've got no shame. I won't gladly admit it. I cried. I literally cried every day for 6 months without missing a day. Yeah, definitely.
What's the process of that? Is that because everything your kids went through? Is that because you took a life as well? What is the one thing that stands out?
Missing my kids.
Yeah?
Yeah, always first and foremost. Yeah.
Does it go through your mind, your actions that you took as well, whether it was a right or wrong decision? Like, I imagine you still think about that every day, but...
I actually don't.
Do you not?
I don't question that, no. No, I don't. It's done.
If it was to happen again, do you think you'd just go through with the same actions?
I'm a big firm believer of let's not put that out into the universe, please, because life has been hard enough already. Let's not do that, okay? But yeah, no, I think a big thing for me, and the reason that I talk out is because one of the most important things for me to get across, because I know people do say it like, oh, I would have done the same. I don't want you to. That's the point. What I want is Della's law pushed through so that you're not ever going to be in my position or the position of my children or Della's position. And the most important thing is that authorities need to take responsibility for the sentencing, the name changing. There's so much more they can do. I mean, I don't know if you've heard of Project Rescue Children.
Oh, what's that?
They're fantastic. So Adam Whittington, I think, is their CEO. And they work all over the world. And they say so he helped in Australia get it done so that paedophiles couldn't travel, because a lot of Western paedophiles, once they've been caught a certain amount of times here, what they then do is go over to other countries, and that's why, they can get away with it over there. $3 they can buy a child for. It's ridiculous. And Project Rescue Children are putting stops to all that, but they started lobbying in Australia, and now Australian paedophiles cannot travel to other countries and do things like that. Nigeria and Russia, as far as I know, have brought out a mandatory life sentencing for anyone that touches a child. That's your first offence. There's no second chances. Touch a child, this is what's going to happen to you. And I just look at our country and I think, wow, you've got that powerful woman, Della, trying everything she can to just stop them changing their name. Why do we have to beg? Why do we have to fight? Why do we have to constantly be scared? Because the thing is, without Della's law, everyone says, oh, you can use Sarah's law. If they've changed their name, when you call up to use Sarah's law, they don't say to you, oh, but now they're under this name. If they've changed their name, Sarah and Claire's law are both rendered useless. So it's so important that that we talk up. Definitely.
What is Della's law for people watching? She's trying to get the names changed, but people can't. She's trying to get
paedophiles can no longer change their names, and live new lives, travel abroad under new identities, and carry on doing what they're doing.
It should be on their license. Yeah, it should be on their licenses. It should be on their passports. It should be on everything that, like you say, they should be getting. Not the death penalty. I've said it before. I don't agree with a lot of shit in the system, but to bring back hanging or whatever for these people to protect the kids, it's only a way to protect them, because they say they can't change the mindset. If somebody's got those tendencies, you can't change it. So the only way to protect the kids is put them in prison for life or kill them. It's as simple as that. A lot of people might not agree with that, but for a father, myself, and who would do anything for my kids, that's the last thing I want to fuck
The
shit.
sentences are a joke. They are a joke. They're a joke to the victims. They're a joke to the victims' families. They are absolutely a joke. Yeah.
How much did you have to work on yourself when you were in prison mentally?
Never stops. Never stops. Every single day. There's no limit to how much I have to do. Some days are worse than others, you know, depression, anxiety, the PTSD. They're all severe. They're all absolutely severe. But I've always been very much that I can do this, you know, so I love meditation, yoga, exercise, you know.
Did you get to speak to counsellors and therapists in there?
I did what I had to do for them to tick their boxes, but unless you're a parent, you can't understand. Unless you're a parent that's gone through this. And I wouldn't want no one to, you know. I know why parents don't speak up, which is why I have to speak up. Because I see so many survivors out there, Jeremy Indica, Samantha Brown, Della, you know, and I'm watching, I've been researching them and watching them for the last couple of years. And I just think to myself, God, they're so powerful. Where are we? Where are the families? Where are the support systems? Where are the, you know, because we've all got to be in this together.
That's the thing, man. Like, this is why these podcasts and that are so good, because people get an understanding. People can then say, if they're brave enough to do it, then I can do it. Like, that's the main thing, is because we're all scared. Like, there's people out there who's been through it, but they're too scared to come forward because they're scared of what people think. They're scared if people believe them.
That almost stopped me.
Yeah. Is that a thing that's in your mind as too?
Every moment of every day.
What regret do you have from it? Do you have any? Hindsight's always a wonderful thing, but there's the things you would have changed?
Only one. Letting him anywhere near us. That's it.
How much does that play in your mind?
A lot.
Yeah.
Can we take a break?
Of course we can. Of course we can. Yeah, I know, like, the things you've been through, man, it must be hard, especially reliving it. Even speaking about it, it's going to bring back a lot of emotion for you, and heartache and pain. Like you've said, it's something you have to live with every day. Like, how was it when you knew you were coming out of prison? Like, were you excited? Were you nervous? Like, did you have to prepare yourself?
I was ready. I was just definitely ready. Yeah, there wasn't, I know a lot of people when they leave prison, don't they? Like they go on a bender, don't they? Like they're free and, you know, they've done their time and there was none of that. There was no party. There was no, there was no going out or anything. It was just being with the boys. That's all that mattered.
Do you think that was being in there as well, was it possibly not saved you, but gave you a lot of time to kind of think about everything and recharge and rewire and work on yourself and go inward, where it gives you plenty of time to go, okay, like, because like you say, that these things you'll be living with forever and ever. Like, but was there a lot of not grateful, I would say, but just because you were in there, it gave you so much time to really work on it and think about it and kind of process everything?
I think prison taught me the opposite. I think it taught me to stop thinking. I think out here we overthink too much, and prison gave me the space to quiet my mind. Yeah.
What about the female predators in there? Like, how hard was that for you?
That was extremely hard. Yeah. I didn't understand. Looking back now, like, because out here you have internet and everything, you can look things up. I mean, the Vanessa George, I didn't know the details like I was in Holloway with Vanessa George. I didn't know the extent of her crimes and things like that. And you look back now and think, oh, she was just like walking around, you know, like anyone else, getting her food or going to education or, you know, doing it. Just still. That's when you got to not overthink it, because, you know, it will tear you apart.
How was like when you're going through that process and you're trying to deal with everything, like, how were you preparing to get out? Like you said you were ready, but was there any methods or steps that it was just
meditation, and the gym. I loved my gym officers. Yeah, meditation in the gym.
A lot of running.
Oh God, a lot of running.
Yeah.
A lot of running. Yeah, miles upon miles upon miles. Yeah, I'd get on there and that would be it. You'd be free for a little while. Yeah.
Where's your trust issues at now, though? Like,
0.
completely?
Yep.
Nobody can come into your
No.
life and try and build up from 0 to...
No.
Nobody gets in
No.
anymore. And that's to protect you again, protect people around you.
Mm-hmm.
How hard does that deal with somebody to then...
It's a shame, innit? When the world has made you so closed off.
Yeah, cold towards that. But again...
I'm still love him. I'm still a nice person, definitely. Just, I prefer people to stay over there and I stay over here. Yeah. I just love from afar now. Yeah.
What was it like your first day out, prison?
Surreal. Because of the whole media and press stuff, it was kind of quite quiet. So yeah, I just went home. I was with the boys. We went out for dinner. Come home.
Were you shocked how much love you got? Like, people, like, it's all love, it's all support. Like, that must help. Like, I'd imagine, because as human beings, you know yourself, we're all soft and sensitive, and like you say, you're a loving person.
Yeah.
I've spoke to you, I've met you, there's a cuddle there. Like, it's not a case of, oh, stay back, weirdo. Like, there's love there. Like, you're not, like you said, completely closed off. But were you surprised that how much love you got and support?
Definitely. I think when you're someone that spent so long hating themselves, like, to see other people loving you, it gives you a little bit of hope. So, and I do try, and when the documentary went out, my phone just, social media, my phone just blew up, and I do try and message every single person back. Yeah. I mean, I just found out actually that Facebook Messenger has a spam folder, and like there's messages in there from like 2021 because I don't really use social media, and I don't really use Facebook. But yeah, so I definitely try and 'cause people have been so good. Yeah.
How was it telling your story for the first time when you get out?
I didn't when I got out. The first story didn't actually come out until I think it was 2020. Yeah.
So a couple of years later.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about it?
Oh, it was I cried the whole way through the interview. Yeah. Yeah. But it was out there. I think it's so important for, you know, survivors to know that their families support them and that we're out here and we're going to do it together.
That's the most important thing. Like,
We've got to do it together.
people don't realise how brave it is to be sitting here getting questioned in another city. Like you say, like, that's brave in itself. Never mind what you're still doing to be here.
Yeah.
A lot of people take their own life, can't handle the pain, struggle with it too much, and yet people are getting fucking lenient.
I've definitely been down that road.
Yeah. Obviously, your boys would made you
Strong.
Do
Yep.
you know what I mean? That's what kids are here for, to make you strong, to make you a better person, to make you see the world differently.
Oh, absolutely.
I was always canning for fucking years. I had 2 kids. I just thought, couldn't be asked. But then there comes a time where you wait a minute, they need me to take control of your own life. Why? Because I want to protect my kids. I want to give them a good life. So I had to take full responsibility. We shouldn't be damaging kids. We shouldn't be breaking kids down.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? People who do that deserve to be punished severely, in my eyes. But when you come out then in life, like, how is life now? Like, how you dealing with it all?
One step at a time.
Yeah.
One project at a time, one step at a time. The process is forever. So I think I've learned not to rush. There's a lot of people coming at me from different angles and to do different things, and you have to be quite careful as well, just because, you know, you don't want to say the wrong thing, you don't want to upset anybody, but you just want to tell your story, because like I said again and again, I'm not telling my story because, you know, oh, it's a sad story, it's a fascinating story, it's this story. No, it's for Della's Law. Like, we're coming together to do this for Della's Law, you know.
And create change.
Create change.
For the better. What it's all about.
Save
like,
the children.
it's just mad that I know Della started the petition. And it never got the signatures that she wanted.
I can't believe it. Yeah.
But it's scary to think that you need so many signatures to create a change that's for a positive.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't be able to change your name. Like you say, Australia, bang, you can't leave the country. Rightly so. Like Russia, life sentence, bang.
Yeah.
Would it stop them? It's no. But what it would do is fucking clear out the path for them reoffending if you're doing a life sentence. Like, I know America chemically castrate people, but it still doesn't really stop them either.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They've still got the tendencies, they've still got the urges, they'll do other things to get that crazy fix. Like, so, plans for the future? Like, tell me, man.
Lots.
Like, for your story, I know you have relive it and the pain and that, but it's a story that should be turned into a book. It's a story that should be a documentary, possibly film. Like, why not make money or create a better living for yourself with what you've been through? You've done what you've done. You've served your time. It was time for you.
I actually don't get paid. I've never got paid. Yeah, so that's fine. Yeah, I just do it because I believe in Della's law, and I think for the future, I have one big dream, and I see it sometimes, and it's either she calls me Della or we're together when it happens, and she says it's done. That they've stopped the name change. That would have made everything definitely
worth it. Yeah, and you will.
Nothing will ever be worth it for the boys and for what these survivors go through, but to give them that peace of mind that they matter and that they're out here trying to save other children from going through the same thing, I think will help them greatly in their healing. And I think that's the least the government can do when it comes to helping them on their path.
What is your feelings towards the government now? Especially getting your sentence doubled. Especially they can't pass these laws. These laws shouldn't even be questioned. These laws should just be changed. Do you know what I mean? Like, what is your feelings towards them?
I think that's what it is, isn't it? It's watching the more people I'm watching coming forward and fighting for this change just makes me have no faith in the government at all, because they've already gone through such horrendous experiences, and it's almost like you're making them beg. Like, this should be mandatory. You're supposed to care for the most vulnerable people of society. Does that not include children? You know, paedophiles are not vulnerable. So how comes that, you're keeping them safe and they have human rights, they have this, they have that? What are you giving the children? Ain't that the point? Yeah, so...
Same as in the male prisons, like, they're locked away, they're protected.
They're not in female prisons. I have heard that in male prisons.
Male prisons have got their own wing.
Yeah, spoke to a few officers that have actually worked on them wings.
Yeah. Like, they've got their own wing. They're building friendships. They're building plans.
There's handbooks.
Yeah.
There's handbooks they pass around on how not to get caught.
Because I had a few armed robbers on, I've had a few mad bastards on here, and they went to Grendon. But to go to Grendon, they go there, they'll try and work on themselves to get out. But when you're in Grendon, it's mixed with everybody, and they have to sit, and they're sitting like all around, and everybody's telling their stories, and some couldn't handle it. They've done what they've done in there and get shit back. Some had to kind of accept it for them to get out of prison. It's mad. Like, Grendon's mad, but it's good for people to try to work on themselves and make changes. My good friend Noel Razor Smith, notorious bank robber, couldn't read or write. Son committed suicide while he was in the prison. He just kind of snapped, went to Grendon, learned how to read and write. Now he's a publisher. Like, unbelievable, man. Phenomenal story. Noel's a real good guy.
Yeah.
And it's, with yourself, you'll probably question, why me? Every day, why me? Why have I went through this? But the sad reality is, with speaking to yourself and Della, you have got the strength to actually speak. There's not many people that have been through what you would have been through. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I had one mum contact me a few days ago, bless her, and she explained to me what happened to her daughter, and that she wants to do something, she just doesn't know where to start. And I think there is a lot of people that want to do something, but fear will keep you rigid for, as long as you let it. So one would be fear, and I think that's why people don't come forward. Speaking from a mother's point of view, I'm not speaking for survivors. And the other one is what? What do they do? No one's telling us what we need to do to get change. We're literally out here winging it every step. Yeah.
See, when you come out of prison and you've got your kids, you've got your family, then but do you have that discussion, everything they've been through, you've been through, or is it kind of, we just deal with it and we'll move on? Because like you say, you're a strong woman, like so strong, like it's unbelievable how strong you are. But when did you have the discussion with everybody? Like, it was just a case of have the discussion once and then move on, or he's in contact about it like when somebody's maybe having a bad day?
It's life. It's life. It's every day. So, you know, if they're having good times, then, you know, that's great. But if they're ever having a bad day, you come home. You come home to me, yeah.
Because for anybody that's watching,
very open.
Yeah, for anybody that's watching, it's maybe struggling. Like, speaking out is, I believe, is the best remedy. It doesn't necessarily take all your pain away, but it kind of diffuses something. Like, do you find that speaking helps the pain?
For me, as the parent, I don't think anything will help it. I think it'll make it easier, but it won't. It'll always be there. It's my driving force every day of my life. Yeah.
For anybody that's watching, it's maybe struggling right now with coming forward or speaking out, like, what advice would you have for them?
As a parent,
Yeah.
we have to stick together. We absolutely have to stick together because we can't take each other's pain away. I'm never going to suggest that I can do that for you and you can't do that for me. I know that, but we can work together, definitely. And I've been researching for a couple of years now, and there are amazing people out there. Like I said, Project Rescue Children, Daddyless Daughters, Jeremy Indica. Like, there's so many. There are, you know, so many people out there doing so many wonderful things. You know, just do some knowledge gave me my power back. Knowledge gave me my power back, definitely.
Are you religious?
No. No.
So see, when, like, it's easy for people to say, "Oh, it was the right thing to do. I would have done that." Like, nobody's in that predicament to make that call. Do you know what I mean? Like, even though for me personally it was the right decision, 1,000,000%. Like, I back you all the way, man, 1,000,000%. But how do you deal with in your mind, like, you've took another life? Like, do you still think about that as well? What if there's a judgment day? What if nothing?
No.
Because in my mind, there's good and evil on this planet.
I forgave me.
Yeah. How long did that take?
A long time.
Yeah, because you've got to forgive yourself, because you're the only person who knows the answers. Nobody. It's easy for you to tell your story here, but nobody knows what you're thinking.
Nobody knows. Like, there's not enough time in a podcast, or there's not enough time to know the whole story. I do, so it has to come from us first. Yeah.
What was that moment like when you forgave yourself?
That was actually just quite recent. Yeah, so it's still quite new, yeah.
Good on you, though.
Yeah.
Good on you, man. Like I say, I've nothing but love and respect for you. Like, everything you've done. Like, it's hard to put into words, because no matter what I say or anybody says, like, your own person, you're not, you know what's going on up here. But for me, like, it's the bravery of that call that you made to protect your family. That's the bravest out of it all. And anybody in the right frame of mind, or anybody in that predicament, as a mother or a father, if you feel as if you're backed into a corner, if you feel as if the justice system is failing, and your only option is to do that, then so be it. Like I say, there's so many people applaud you. In fact, that 99%, but only people that's not going to applaud you is the same as that fucking that wrong. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but 99% of people will show love and support because they know it's the right thing to do. Like, not many people speak out about it because they're scared. People get targeted, people get trolled. Like, going forward with it all, then, like you say, you forgive yourself. Now's the time to just keep working on yourself to create Taylor's law, get it passed, and protect the people that we, as the next generation of this, the planet, basically. Like, where do you go with it all now? What can I help with, or anybody watching? What can anybody help with?
So from now, there's going to be there's a lot more meetings coming up and stuff, but once things have been decided, next steps have been decided, you know. I know there's a lot more MPs who are getting involved now as well, because MP Sarah Champion, she's involved, and just look out for all the social media for Della's Law, and, you know.
What about yourself? Plans for the future, Sarah? What's you got in the cards? Big things?
Hope so. I hope so, yeah.
Are you still in contact with people from the Nick?
Yeah.
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 It's not that then. Sometimes it's the people insane that can actually keep you fucking sane.
I wouldn't have survived without them.
Yeah.
No.
Like, I know I've asked you before, but for anybody that's maybe stuck in a rut, like, what advice would you have for them yourself? Because I know you've worked on yourself so much to then forgive yourself. And
it takes years. Don't rush the process. Don't think it can't happen, because I think that's one of the things as well, is that I always believed that I would never forgive myself for taking someone's life, but I absolutely do. You know, where my boys are concerned, I don't forgive myself for ever letting him anywhere near us, and I probably never will. So you have to put things into what you can work on at any one time. But knowledge is power. And you need to get out there and you need to research what you can do and how you can get help and how you can be of help. Yeah.
Listen, for coming on today and telling your story, I know how hard that is to then try and relive that. It's tiring, draining, but like you say, you're doing it for a strength, for people to come forward and help out, to change these laws, to make the world a better place, safer place. Like, the world's always going to have bad and evil in it, but if we can do enough to eliminate as much evil as we can while we're alive, and that's all we can do. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
Like,
I
you've got plenty more fight in you, you've got plenty more life in you to do amazing things. But listen, I've got nothing but love and respect for you.
Thanks, James.
Anything I can ever help with, I'm a phone call away. But I wish you nothing but luck, success, and the best possible life for the future for yourself.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you.